Hello and welcome back. It's Mary with Happy Pine Soap. Today, watch creamy shea butter and shea oil transform into a luxurious cold processed soap with gorgeous flowing swirls. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's get started. Our colors today are all from Mad Micas, as you guys know, my favorite supplier. We have Tangerine Dream, we have Blue Tide, we have a Velvet Plum, we have Preppy Blue, and I got this free sample in one of my orders. It's called Redrum, so I thought I'd try this out today. We have about 1/2 teaspoon of mica to 1/2 tablespoon lightweight oil, and I mixed them with a mini blender. So as you see, they're all waiting to go nice and smooth. I'm interested to see how this color scheme comes out. It's kind of an interesting color scheme that I'm going with. And from Brambleberry, I got some shea oil. I've never used this type of oil in soap making before, and I'm curious how it will perform and what it adds to the soap. So I'm going to add a brand new ingredient to an otherwise pretty simple recipe, which of course will be provided to you, and you can try it out as well. And then I have our fragrance pre-measured. This is 3 ounces of fragrance, and we're using Rainbow Sherbet from Brambleberry. This is an amazing fragrance. It's very well behaved. It smells amazing. It only slightly discolors. It just turns off white, so not too bad. And I'm going to put 3 ounces in my soap, which is essentially a medium strength fragrance amount according to the Brambleberry calculator that I used online. Here is our recipe. It's a relatively simple one. It only has 7 different oils, and I really want it to be heavy on shea butter and shea oil, as you see there. I really am interested to see how luxurious this particular recipe turns out. This is about 4.3 pounds, so about 70 ounces total. As you see, it does have a lye concentration of 40%, so a lye discount basically. And as you know, I love the 40% because it allows me enough working time and the soap sets up faster. I upped the super fat a little bit to 7% since we have a bit more coconut oil, which tends to be drying. Our cleansing number here is 15. That actually means stripping as far as how much oils it will strip from the skin. So I upped our super fat to 7% to counteract the drying. This should have really good lather and should be really nurturing and moisturizing, thanks to this beautiful shea oil and shea butter, as well as lard and tallow are fabulous on the skin as well. Of course, olive oil too. So our total recipe here, I'll send a screenshot at the end too, so that you can screenshot it as well to save for later if you would like. I have all of our oils warmed up and mixed together. And right now they're at about 114. So I want these to go a little bit lower. I think I'm going to wait till the oils drop to about 90 degrees Fahrenheit, and then we'll be ready to start soaping. I'll go check on the lye as well. I've waited a bit of time. My lye solution is now 78 degrees Fahrenheit, and the oils are about 94. So I think I'm going to call this ready. I think I'll go ahead and add my fragrance oil to our warm oils, just because I know this one behaves very well, so I won't have to worry about acceleration, and that will bring down the temperature just a bit more as well, because of course lower temperatures means your batter will be slower to trace, so it won't thicken up as fast, which, because this is a new recipe, I just want to give myself a little extra time just in case. I don't quite know how fast it will move, but hopefully it won't be too bad. All right, I think we're good to go. All right, let's get my stick blender. We're going to carefully add our lye solution into our oils. And if you're wondering why I'm using a tall container this time, that is because my red bowls, which I normally use, are cracked. So until I get some new stainless steel bowls, I had to use this big container. All right, we're gonna get the stick blender in. This is a lot deeper container than I'm used to. Let's go ahead and burp our stick blender by gently tapping. Just releases any air bubbles. All right. It's a little harder to get an emulsion here with the depth in this one, so I'll just try hand stirring as well. I don't want to over stir it by accident with the stick blender and have it start getting very thick. So we'll do a combination of stick blending and with our spatula. All right, that's not bad. And then I think, as you all know, I love scrubby soaps. I think I'm gonna add a tablespoon of walnut shells to this entire batch. And that's just my own preference. You do not need to do this step. I use my soaps that I make here. So a lot of these are just me enjoying my own soaps here. All right, let's go ahead and kind of gently put some of that in, and then we'll blend the rest in. All right. All right, it's looking very nice. I got some extra walnut shells here on our spatula. Try to scrape that down, but it looks like our soap is holding a very nice thin trace. So this is a great recipe. I can tell that already. You have 5 colors, so you will want to separate your soap into approximately 14-ounce batches. So go ahead and carefully measure out 14 ounces in 5 different pour containers. To add your micas, you just simply use a skinny spatula like I'm showing here and scrape it into your soap, and then you will stir it by hand. The reason I don't use the stick blender is I just don't want to over blend where it starts to thicken. So this keeps it nice and thinner in terms of the trace, which is good for pouring it and keeping it at a nice pourable trace. Otherwise, if it gets too thick, you end up having to like spoon the soap in, and I don't want to have that type of texture or consistency. So there you go. And as you see, nice thin trace still. It's behaving itself. We're going to use a slab mold for our design here. It's just a simple, I think it's about 5 pound. It's a 5-pound slab mold. It might be a bit more. I'm not 100% certain since I got this quite a while ago, but it's at least 5 pounds, if not a little bit over. And I think I'm just gonna try to do a simple drop swirl today. So I'm trying to decide which direction I want to be pouring. I think I'll do it this direction. All right, so let's just start having fun and just getting our colors in. All right. And of course, I like to stir a little bit before I start pouring. All right. Ooh, look at that gorgeous orange on blue. Ah, stunning. Here's a beautiful purple, that velvet plum. So pretty. And then our preppy blue. It's kind of hard to describe. It reminds me kind of a grayish blue. All right. And then our beautiful, I don't know if it's red rum or redrum, but it's kind of a coppery, a darker copper color. So pretty. Start over with our beautiful orange. And this vibrant blue is one of my favorites. might go ahead and tap it just to release any air bubbles. I see some that are rising to the top already. All right, we'll keep going. All right, we're getting down to just a little bit left in the containers. Oh, I love this orange. It is such a beautiful, vibrant color. All right. There we go. All right, now we're just gonna carefully draw lines in the top. Actually, before I do that, I'm trying to figure out if I want to swirl deeper. You know what? Let me actually swirl the bottom layers. All right, just any simple tool that you have. This is just from a mini blender, but if you have like a wooden dowel, or maybe you have, say, a knife or something, that'll work as well. We're gonna swirl all of these colors. Let's see. This will make it look very cool when we cut it as well. All right, let's just get some interesting patterns in the deeper soap layers before we switch to the top. I'm just doing figure eights. And then let's clean the sides a little bit. There we go. All right, let me wipe this off. All right, let's go ahead and get our top layers here. All right, let's just go ahead and do a simple swirl in the top now. As you see, I'm not putting it very far down. I'm just carefully doing maybe the top 1/2 inch of the soap. Looks pretty awesome to me. You can probably see a few bubbles. So this is the cleanup tool from Brambleberry. It's great for popping little tiny bubbles that you see. So let's go ahead and pop the ones that are the bigger ones at least, because they will show up in the finished soap if I don't make them go away. I think that's pretty good. Isn't that pretty? Oh, beautiful. I love it. To prevent soda ash, I'm going to carefully use some cling wrap or plastic wrap over the top. You have to stretch it tight so it doesn't accidentally dip down and touch the surface of our beautiful soap. There we go. And then it'll be ready for oven processing. All right. To cut this slab mold, I separated it into 3 separate portions. So what you see me doing here is measuring it about 3 inches apart. And then I'll use a knife from the kitchen to cut it into 3-inch, essentially smaller slabs. And then I'm going to cut those smaller slabs into approximately 2 inches pieces. And then I will cut the 2-inch pieces into 1-inch bars, basically, or 1 inch thick, I should say. One thing you'll see here in a minute is a disappointing partial gel. I had tried my best to prevent partial gel by oven processing, and it just goes to show that even experienced soapers can be surprised when your soap does not turn out how you expected it. So what you see here really is the bottom of the slab mold, so you're not seeing it yet. It was actually on the top, so we spent all that time trying to achieve that beautiful swirled top, and it was completely ruined by a partial gel. So I'm just, I was so upset. I was so disappointed. So I'm trying to save it here. And thank God we swirled the middle of the soap, which you'll see here in just a little bit. The middle of the swirl did shine through and still looked beautiful. So I was relieved about that. So once I get this cut into 3-inch smaller slabs, I will flip one over and you'll be able to see that partial gel that I'm talking about. All right, here is the partial gel. It's really only in the top part. And as you see, it totally discolored it to be kind of an ugly brownish color. So partial gel really happens when the outer parts of the soap cool faster than the inside of the soap that retains more heat. So it's really only cosmetic. It's not at all harmful. It just doesn't look very pretty. So that's what a partial gel is. And usually oven process takes care of it. However, I think what happened here is the soap was rather deep, so to speak. I had poured a lot of soap into this mold, and so I think the middle part of the soap just had uneven heating compared to the outer edges of the soap. So I think that's what happened here. And as you see, I am separating the 3-inch parts into 2-inch bars, and then I will take these 2-inch bars and I will cut them in half at about 1 inch as well to make the individual soap bars. And as I mentioned, this is a 2-inch individual part of the slab, the larger slab, and I'm cutting it in 1-inch increments so that we have a nice 1 by 2, like 2 inches in length by 1 inch in width for our individual bars. And as you see, thank goodness, that beautiful middle swirl. I am so grateful that I decided to do that figure 8 swirl because it really does actually shine through. And here, by the way, is our recipe. Feel free to screenshot this and stick with me. What I'm going to do is I'm going to let them sit out overnight. I'm going to bevel them, and then we'll do a lather test as well. It's the next morning. I got them all beveled. They are nice and hard from getting plenty of air overnight. And I think I'll try the lather test now. I am so glad I did that middle of the loaf swirl, or before we did the actual top swirl, because that kind of saved these since the discoloration on the top of the loaf really ruined that pretty design I had in mind. So yeah, I'm not too displeased with these actually. They don't look terrible. Let's do the lather test. All right, we got our water. I'm just going to use a little sliver just because I didn't want to use a whole bar for the lather test. All right, let's get it wet. Let's see how this performs. All right, already it's got some really nice bubbles forming. Not bad. Add some more water. Okay, for a brand new soap, this does not have terrible lather. I thought it would probably have some pretty good lather because the coconut oil is higher. So yeah, when you have higher coconut oil, you get better lather. But it's also a kind of a creamy lather at the same time too. It's quite nice. It feels the slip is nice, and it feels creamy and smooth as well. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with this.